What is up, guys? See if the chat fills up any here. This is wild. I wasn't expecting to get this news today. What's up, West Virginia guy? Oatmeal Brown is next. Yeah, yeah. It's wild, man. I was not expecting this. Um, I, for everything I've read, he was basically pressure from the university seems to be the reason. Wait for this chat to fill up a little bit. Do I think Neil Brown is next? Well, I mean, according to the Thamel report from College Game Day, that was the first hurdle uh, to ousting Neil Brown. Uh, so I don't know. We're going to have to see who the next AD is, or if it's an interim person. Hold on, I've got people messaging me everywhere. What's up, Samuel Easton? This is about time. Watch out for the door hitting you in the rear. I think that's right, man. Uh, let's see. See what I can put up here. I had the article I was going to use there. Let's see. All right. Look for that. Oh, that's small. But it says West Virginia University Director of Athletics and Associate Vice President Shane Lyons is resigning under pressure from the university. Lyons informed his staff of the decision this morning following a tense meeting with WVU President E. Gordon Gee. The move represents a significant change of direction for West Virginia University athletics as the fate of football coach Neil Brown is also under consideration. And as the university adapts to a rapidly changing athletics landscape, Lyons turned down an offer by Gee to give up the athletic director responsibilities but stay on as associate vice president. Very interesting. What are you guys watching through the Voice of College Football channel or my channel? Somebody let me know that. Voice of College Football. Hey, what's up, Zach? You found me. Is there anybody else live doing this right now? Golden Blue Dude, Coos, anybody? You might know. Appreciate that, Zach. This is wild, fellas. Uh, I was about ready to take a nap or something, but then this hit. Wild, man. I wonder who they're going to hire as the interim athletic director. Maybe Mike Montoro. Maybe they get a whole new athletic director. Who knows? You know, some more people will come along. West Virginia guy says, please take Neil Brown with you, Shane Lyons. Yeah. Well, we can only hope. I'm just blown away at the timing of this. It's just like we were told, man. If Pete Thamel is reporting on something like on game day, like we were talking about in one of my videos, if Pete Thamel's reporting on it, it's almost done deal. It's about a done deal. Uh, Usually information doesn't get back to him until right before something goes down. And I'll be damned if it didn't get reported Saturday and Monday comes and boom, there it is. So the article I put up was from SB Nation. I know Hoppy Kirchgable, however he says that last name, it's hard to say, um, is the guy that broke this news. So I'm assuming he must have got a text from Shane Lyons or something along those lines. This is wild news, though, fellas, for sure. Don't forget to like the video, guys. I'm streaming. I should be streaming from two different channels, unless I did this wrong. From the Voice of College Football, but also from uh, Not Near Paul Talks Football. Should be. I have to hire someone that's less arrogant. Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, he definitely got a it's my way or the highway type of personality for sure. Yeah, I know. They were very smug, and especially Neil. Shane Lyons came across as, to me, like, at first I thought it was soft spoken, but now I see what you're talking about. But in the beginning I thought he was just kind of a soft spoken dude, but not the case. Not the case at all. Neil Brown, different story. Yeah, kind of his way or the highway type of dude. Shane was a bully. Yeah, it won't be long. Some people should be showing up. Hey, why don't you guys go and look on Golden Bluetooth or Cooch's Corner, see if there's anybody live doing this. Because if they are, we're probably not going to get anybody in here. They're so much bigger than this channel. Uh, anybody that gives a crap about it would be over there instead of here. If they are, uh, I'll try to jump in the link. What's up, Christian? Christian says, "My God, yeah, this is crazy, bro. I know. Yeah, Zach. Listen, I gotta give credit to Zachary Valoric. He was on top of this. He messaged me. I said, "What?" I was about to lay down, and Zach and I go way back, and he had sent me a little messenger quick video or uh, message, and I went to looking into it. And sure enough, that article just hit like 3 minutes ago. So he was on top of it. Yeah, Christian. So the reporting is apparently there was a meeting with President Gee this morning. At least I'm assuming it was this morning. And Shane Lyons was given the option to give up his athletic director duties, but still stay on in some kind of role as vice president. And he refused to do that. So pretty stubborn to the end, a lot like his head coach. Um, this is wild, man. This is wild. Yeah, but the overall, what I was told was basically, in a nutshell, university pressure. Voice of Motown is saying Neil Brown is next. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, fellas. You know, uh, here's the thing, man. I just made a video about this. What's up, Misplaced Hillbilly? He says, think Brown will be fired at the end of the season. They'll let him finish the season to lower the payout. Yeah, it's possible. Very possible. Yeah, exactly, Christian. Yeah, we were, weren't we, dude? I'll never forget. You showed me. I'll never forget. We won't say where we were, but you called me over and you were like, you showed me a newspaper clipping. That's how long ago it was. It was a newspaper clipping of Dana, and it was an Oklahoma State picture. Yeah, it was right around March Madness. I remember because we used to do that March Madness thing where we used to pig out and watch basketball all weekend. Hey, have you guys all seen mine and Coos? Me and Coos have a basketball channel, Hoops from the Hills. If you haven't subscribed to that, man, you got to hit it up. We just started that last week. We've already done the Pitt video. We did a preview of the Pitt game, stuff like that. I've actually got Jose Perez's the player that just signed. I've got his contact info, and I'm trying to work out a situation to where he and I can sit down along with Coos and do some type of interview before he gets to Morgantown. But so far, it's been tough. But I'm talking to Coos. We'll see if I can sing the link. All right, want to bring Coos on, guys. All right. Now we're cooking with gas a little bit. This place Dillbilly said, "Who's dying if the top DAs should you mean AD?" That's a good question. I'm gonna wait for Coos for that to answer that. He's a little bit more plugged in on possible athletic directors out there, but honestly, if I had to guess, it's going to be somebody in house in the interim. That's I don't know. Coos, what do you think? That question on there.
Who's sorry? I'm just hopping on. Who's dime if the top DAs to possible replace Lyons? Yeah, probably. I mean, I think Kelly Zinn would have been in line to be that person had she still been here, but obviously we know she left for the LSU position. Um, so yeah, I mean, I would imagine they'll put somebody in house in the position just for now, just because that's not a position you want to leave vacant for a long period of time. You need somebody there
Right.
to run the program, the athletic department. So yeah, uh, and I should know this, but I'm not sure who the new associate AD is. Uh, I think they did name one, but I haven't seen it announced publicly.
Yeah.
Do you know the answer to that?
No, no. I keep hearing Mike Montoro. His name get brought up a lot.
Well, and that's possible. I mean, he's over the communications side of the athletic department, so he could be the
Yeah.
guy that they put in that position. You know, who knows?
Yeah.
I haven't had
Yeah.
time to do a deep dive and do any research on who I think should replace Shane Lyons. I plan on doing that though eventually.
Yeah. Same.
But
Uh,
athletic directors is not something you follow as closely as coaches, so it's a little bit harder to come up with
right.
a list.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. Uh, this is just kind of blindsided. We talked about it on Saturday. Pete Thamel, they said it on Casaza and Chris Anderson. They said it, in their rapid reaction show. If Thamel's got the news, then most likely it's close to the end. And I think we all brushed that off a little bit because of the way the game ended Saturday. And sure enough,
Well, I think you can't let that one game dictate long term decisions. I mean, because we're still 4-6. It's not like that one game is you know make or break our season.
Rob Alsop is the interim.
Yeah, I see that.
Interesting.
He's been with WVU since 2017. Apparently, he's was the vice president for strategic initiatives for the university.
I wonder if he's been an athletic director or something of that capacity before.
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Hmm.
I'm I'm,
Thanks,
I'm,
Zach.
I'm researching him as we're talking.
West Virginia guy said, bye bye, Neil Brown. I think that's the conclusion everybody's going to jump to. Yeah, I know you do, Zach. Listen, Zach, you're one of the people that, uh, if you ever thought about doing this, you've got the passion for it, man. You're the only person besides. No offense to anybody in the chat. I don't know anybody else personally in here, but Zach, you're the only people I've ever known that's like me with them. So, uh,
It looks like Rob Alsop's background. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It looks like Rob
I
Alsop's background is in politics for the most part. To be honest with you.
interesting. Well, this is just an interim deal, so it's not like. I mean, I don't know what's going to turn into, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, well, we'll be paying attention to the news coming out of Morgantown this week.
Absolutely. And yeah, I wonder too. Will this call? See, Neil Brown's got uh, uh, details in his contract that allow him to leave the program with no buyout on his own accord
Yeah,
if Shane Lyons is no longer the AD. So I'm wondering now. Look, I don't think he'll do that right now because where's he going to go? I don't think there's any. Let's be honest. Neil Brown's 21 and 24 here. There's probably no Power Five schools begging for him to come and coach there right now. So I
Right.
don't think he's going to leave right now because let's face it, he's making $3 to $4 million a year, and he's not going to. He's probably not going to find a job doing that anywhere else at this point. So he's probably going to stay until he's asked to leave. Would be my guess, but who knows? I mean, he could be the type of guy that money's not his driving factor, and he might decide, hey, I don't want to work for anybody else. But I'll tell you, I'll be honest, I've actually heard some rumblings that Neil Brown may not even be totally happy with how Shane Lyons has been running things. So if that's the case,
Right.
then this, Neil Brown may secretly approve of this move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. This could be actually right. You're right. This could mean the exact opposite of what it looks like right now. This could actually be a vote of confidence from Neil Brown rather than a strike.
Yeah,
Or just the what we're all sitting here waiting for the flip to drop, but that might be the only flip to drop in Shane Lyons.
yeah, yeah. Who knows?
Um,
Well, I mean, I think Brown is definitely going to have to be evaluated strongly, and
I would hope so.
uh, but most of the time, if you follow the history of college football, they don't let interim ads. Typically, I'm not saying it never happens, but interim ads normally don't make hiring and firing decisions. At least not
It's
that I can
rare.
remember.
It's very rare. Hmm. I can't even think of one off the top of my head. But like I said, this is not a subject. Now, if Mark Rogers were on here, yeah, he would probably know somebody.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm not saying it's never
Yeah.
happened. Uh, I'm just saying I don't think it's the norm. And but now let's be real though. The whole deal at Auburn, the president made the decision to fire the head coach, not the AD. So that could happen too. He just didn't announce it until they had already selected an AD. So and then they would let so that something like that could happen here. They could have already made a decision to fire Brown after the season, but they want to have a new AD on board before they make that announcement, and then let him hire the new guy. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, at least they did this early-ish. I mean, it could have been done earlier. Um, I still feel like we're behind the eight ball just a little bit on all this.
Yeah. Well, there was a board of governors meeting on Friday, so my guess is they discussed this in that board of governors meeting. That may have been what they were waiting on. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just a guess.
Well, you're reading between the lines again because we've heard that through a couple other shows that we listen to. Um, and you're probably right. You're probably dead on with that. Wild.
Definitely a big news day. Uh, Not
Yeah.
saying I'm surprised. I'm surprised it happened now. I'm not really surprised it happened. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And uh, I hate for Shane Lyons that this is what he's going to be remembered by the bad decision to extend Neil Brown. Uh, Obviously signed his death sentence. Uh, he saw us through some turbulent times. Um, so he definitely had a positive impact in the facilities. I mean, he was so instrumental in the facilities and getting that done. So, really thankful and grateful that he was able to do some of that stuff, but
Well, I've heard
at the end
rumors
of the
that.
day,
Well, if you read a WV Metro News article, one of the black marks against him was he was delegating almost everything. Uh, So he wasn't really
yeah,
heavily involved in the day to day operations. So how responsible was he for all that?
right.
Some could argue that Kelly Zinn was responsible for that. Of course, I've also heard the argument that she was responsible for Neil Brown's extension, but Shane had to sign off on it. So I don't know, man. I just he wasn't running the Mountain Athletic Club the way they liked it either. So my guess is this. My guess is they've been unhappy with some of the things he did, and then the contract extension was just the last straw. The nail in the coffin, as they say. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely, definitely makes sense. I think we're all just caught off guard a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, this is well, first of all, in our lifetimes, this just doesn't happen very much. You know, I mean, this isn't Tennessee or a school like that that's been through a lot lately. You know,
Yeah, but
just changes.
yeah, I agree. But I think at the end of the day, the college football landscape has changed, man. And winning, I think winning is even more important now than it was 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, maybe.
There's no doubt about it. We still don't know what the fate is going to be of Power Five schools like us in Kansas State that are looked upon as mid-tier brands.
Right.
And winning is so important. Brand recognition is so important. You know, it's just so important. And winning is the only way to grow that. You know, so
I'm not.
uh,
I'm not a morning person, Zachary. And plus, I'm having to look down at the screen because my camera's above my head. So I promise my eyes aren't closed.
Kuz looks like he wants to get sleep.
I jumped
Hey,
on here so quick.
Will.
I didn't have time to do a to change my setup to where I was looking at the screen straight in front of me. I'm having to look down at a laptop. So
Yeah, Will knows what changes are like over at Notre Dame.
yeah, he does. Except he's got a great AD over there at Notre Dame, man. Joe Jack Swarbrick. He's a superstar.
And apparently a lot better football coach than what everybody thought at first, huh?
Yeah, really.
Everybody just thought it just, it's funny. Everybody thought he was so bad just because he lost a couple early games.
Well, he lost to Marshall. That's kind of a black eye.
Right. What's up, BPA? Good to see you, man. We were just talking about that. This is not a subject that at least Coos and myself aren't too familiar with who was out there, and it's something we're gonna have to research. But there has been an interim AD named already. And what was that name, Coos?
Well, Zachary Valork said Rob Alsop, but I'm not sure that's. I don't know if he was just assuming that or if he's already been named. I haven't seen that yet in the news.
Well,
He was the associate AD already, but that doesn't mean they'll automatically bump him up to interim, does it?
right. No, not automatically. No. Uh,
I mean,
that would have been,
I'm not saying it's not true. I just haven't seen it myself in the news.
yeah,
We've also heard Mike Montoro's name brought up in the rumor mill too.
right. That's
But there
small.
again, I've not seen it in the news. It's just a rumor. I mean, the first name that comes to my mind obviously is Rob Mullins, who's the AD at Oregon right now, because he's a West Virginia alum. But I don't see him leaving Oregon. I mean, he's out there with that field night money, unless he's
Right.
dissatisfied now. Unless he's not happy with the Pac-12 situation, maybe, and he's a little bit concerned that the Pac-12 may dissolve or something, and he wants to make a change. That's possible, or he wants to just come home. But other than that, I don't really see that happening. Now that would be a home run hire, in my opinion. I mean, because almost every football coach they've hired has been a success there. Now,
Correct.
some of that could be. I think you got to look with these programs, man. I think you got to start at the top. Programs that are really well run. I mean, look at UCF. Every single guy they hire wins games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I think it starts at the top when you have a really good leadership team, whether it be the board, whether it be president level, and it starts there and all the way down. When you have good support from your boosters and everything, it's a mixture of everything. That, but I will look at some of these programs like a UCF who are really well run and who have success in multiple, not just football. You got to look at everything. Obviously, football is the primary driver in basketball, but you look at the whole scope and look at these athletic departments who have a lot of success, and you start there. Obviously, you have to give Rob Mullins a call, in my opinion, just to see if he's interested.
Oh yeah.
Uh, if you want to interview Alsop and some of these other guys and see if they're a fit. But like I said, Alsop's background appears to be in politics, which now let's face it, we live in a climate today where knowing the right people is critically important. He's worked for Joe
Yeah,
Manchin. He's worked for some of the other governors in our state. So he
yeah,
seems to be well connected at the highest levels. Maybe that's something you look at. When in the age of conference realignment, but also you've got to look at somebody that can hire and fire the right people. Uh,
yeah,
so you've got to have the whole package. But
yeah.
definitely
Absolutely.
Rob Mullins will be my first call. Then after that, I don't know, man. You have to. Uh,
So it's interesting. Zach is saying that he has been named on Pete Thamel's report.
oh, okay.
Thanks, Joey. Joey Foster says, "Howdy, guys. Way to jump on the story." Said he was angry. Yeah, I read that BPA. He was angry with D, and it was a tense meeting. It was. Uh, I bet Joey's happy this morning. I won't say any more than that.
I actually just did a video on it before I jumped on here. I'm going to be releasing here shortly. Speaking of which, I'm not going to be able to be on here long because I'm actually working today, so I need to jump off of here. I just wanted to hop on and give my two
Hey,
cents.
hey, Joey, do you want the link? He's still in here.
I've still got to do my video about the Oklahoma game. I haven't even done that yet. That I promised everybody I would do today.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. I just released my Garrett Green video that we were talking about last night.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I still got to meet with John Kurtz. Joey don't want to come on. I still got to meet with John Kurtz this evening. It's gonna be busy for sure. But go ahead and jump off here, Coos. I got
All
this,
right,
man.
all right, man. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm sorry I couldn't stay longer. I got a lot of stuff. Man, the view counts are skyrocketing. But anyway,
What on?
they need. I just needed to announce I was leaving to get your view count up.
Yeah, right.
That was a joke, Paul. Lighten up, man. See
I
you.
was reading comments. I'm sorry.
See you, brother.
Later, man. No, Coos had to leave, Joey. That's why I was asking you. Uh, yeah, I got this, Zach. Will, you said, will the interim AD fire Neil Brown, and then once they announce the new AD, will they pick the replacement? Um, I think what's going to happen is the interim. I mean, I'm just guessing here, but I think the interim guy is going to let Neil Brown coach the rest of the season, and then I think the new AD will give Neil Brown a hard evaluation based off of how this season plays out. And he's almost in a no-win situation, even if he does win out. I doubt any athletic director looks at his resume and keeps him on after 4 years. But it really all depends on who it is. You know, Neil is so well liked within the program that if we promote somebody from within, it could be somebody that really likes Neil Brown and wants to keep him on for another year. If we get somebody outside the program, it's anybody's guess. Yeah, I'll send you a link here, Joey. Check your Twitter inbox, Joey. That's where I'm going to send it to. Just easiest one for me to access at the moment. Sorry, guys. Trying to hurry. All right. That is sent. All right. Wait on Joey to get here. What's up, everybody? Just make sure you like the video. If you don't care, guys. If you're not subscribed to the Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, or if you're not subscribed to the Voice of College Football, hit the subscribe button for us, guys. We'd really appreciate that. We're talking about Shane Lyons. He's been let go. Well, he's actually resigned. Uh, from what we understand, probably forcefully after a tense meeting with President E. Gordon Gee. So that's where we're at the moment. We're trying to figure out the situation and talk about replacements, who's being promoted from within, this, that, and the other. I'm going to bring on a guy that's behind the scenes almost on every podcast you see, and that's Mr. Joey Foster. Hey, Joey.
Hey, Paul, how are you doing?
Good,
doing,
man. Doing good. Will Notre Dame. Any chance Huggy Bear wants the job? Well, in a couple years, maybe. He's got a contract that runs through 24 or 5. So we're not sure. He's 68, so after he hits 70, we're not sure what he wants to do. Probably wants to fish. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him stick around in the at the university level somewhere. I wouldn't be mad.
The writing was on the wall for all this to happen. I mean, if we look back at our program, I'm sitting here looking now. So 2022 volleyball, we were 7 of 17, 0 and 10 in the conference. 2021-22 tennis, 7 and 17, 0 and 9 in the conference. 21 and 22 women's swimming, 2 and 3, 0 and 1 in the conference. Soccer, women's soccer, 2021, 10 and 5 and 5, 3 and 3 in the conference. This year wanted to be 12, but 21 gymnastics, 2 and 7, 0 and 6 in the conference. Cross country, 21st place. I think there's only 23 teams in the cross country. Women's basketball, 15 and 15, 7 and 11 in the conference. Wrestling in 22, 6 and 8, 1 and 6 in the conference. Men's swimming in 21, 0 and 2, 0 and 0 in the conference. Golf, 10th place in the Big 12 out of 10 teams. Men's basketball, 2021, 16 and 17, 4 and 14 in the conference. Baseball in 2022, 33 and 22, conference 14 and 10. Men's soccer 2022, 7, 6 and 4, 3 and 1 and 4 in the conference. And of course, our rifling team, always good. Still was 3rd place last year. So the writing was on the wall. Every athletic department was down. And like I always said, if you're Sam Walton and you have one department in a store that's bad, maybe you fire that department manager. If you have 6 departments that are bad, you fire the store manager. That's what they've done here. So I think it's just writing was on the wall.
Yeah, and you did a great job there rattling off the mediocrity that our program has been immersed in, at all levels. Certainly, I said earlier, I feel like, Shane Lyons did do some good things for the school, at least in my opinion, with the facilities and some of the stuff there. But none of that really, that's all great. It gets recruits, but none of that translates to winning on the field. And you have to cultivate an environment for your coaches and coaches for the players, right? There's 2 different environments that you're trying to cultivate in a culture.
Exactly.
You've got one for the players and one for the coaches and the staff. And those are 2 separate different things, And so kudos to Neil Brown for keeping that up under. We're getting starting to hear some rumblings that he wasn't happy with the situation. So we'll wait and see if more reporting is done on that. But ready for some new blood for sure in the athletic department. It's been time for that.
Right. I am ready for the blood, and I've been saying all along, and it's not necessarily just Neil Brown. It's not a Neil Brown issue. Neil Brown's a good coach. It's more of an issue of the culture set within the whole athletic department. Because when all the athletics are down like that, everything, then you got to look further up the chain than Neil Brown, because Neil Brown has nothing to do with baseball, and you don't have anything to do with soccer or volleyball, or and when all that's down, then it's time to look elsewhere. So Will ND in here, I'm glad to see Will here. So,
Yeah.
but
You
anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't know what the future will hold for West Virginia now, and what the future will hold for Neil Brown, of course. But at the same time, you've got to say, well, what's the future hold for Bob Huggins? Even he's had 2 bad seasons out of 4. The new athletic director might say, let's move on from that too. So maybe we look at it as a blessing, but it could be a curse as well. I really believe a
well,
new athletic director is going to give Neil Brown and everyone another year to see how things go, and then make his decision or her
right.
decision. Yeah.
It all depends on who it is. Sometimes uh, you hire an athletic director based on the coach he's connected to. That happens sometimes.
Right.
So you think about a guy like the Liberty AD who was connected to Hugh Freeze. Um, of course, he had a scandal. I think he was involved in it. Was he involved in the Baylor scandal? The Liberty athletic director.
Maybe, possibly. There was somebody at Liberty that was involved in that. It may have been the athletic director.
Yeah. So
Liberty's
he
pretty
might. He
good at
might.
hiring people with scandals. Liberty's pretty good at hiring people with scandals, if you think about it. I mean, they really are. And
Seems like it.
you know, for the most part, they turn them around, I guess. So
Well, they're a Christian university, Baptist, so
right,
they don't. You got to think their belief system's different than a lot of people's. They get
exactly.
criticized for something that they practice every day, which is forgiveness. You know, and anybody that's if you're from West Virginia, you most likely you either go to church or have family that does, and you know how they feel about forgiveness. So can't really fault Liberty for that. I know some people will, but they'd be hypocritical
Yeah, I mean,
not to try to give somebody a second chance, I guess.
yeah, there's nothing against Liberty at all in this. It's just they give people second chances and things, and they could do that as a group of 5. It's hard for a Power 5 program to do that, in all
Right.
honesty, because there's just so many eyeballs on the programs.
Yeah, I agree with that. You want to hear somebody? I heard a name. There's a name I heard threw out there the other day that I hadn't heard in 20 years for the coaching position at West Virginia. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Philip Fulmer.
No.
I about laughed my ass off. Philip Fulmer.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's a Hall of Fame coach, but
Yeah.
he's about 20 years past his prime. He's got to be. Is he 80? He's got to be he's like Barry Alvarez. He's old.
Somebody the other day asked me, they said, well, wonder what Steve Spurrier's doing these days. I wonder if we could get him at West Virginia. I'm like, why would you want Steve Spurrier? He couldn't do anything at South Carolina.
Right. Yeah. If I was going to go for a Florida coach that didn't work out other places, I'd just get Urban Meyer.
Yeah. 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 Why not our Dan Mullen? Let's go to Dan Mullen. So, yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah. Dan Mullen.
the coaching search, I'm sure, is going on throughout the university. But at the same time, it's going to be up to the new athletic director, and I just feel like he's going to give everybody another year. I mean, when you feel like that, I mean, I just don't. I mean, you never know. I mean, a new athletic director will come in and say, "Hey, okay, let's wipe the slate clean here. Neil Brown, you're gone," and hire somebody. But at the same time, I just don't see that happening. Yeah, coming home at 85. Yeah, yeah. Well, we'll, you guys, you guys had great teams under Lou Holtz. Lou Holtz was a great coach in his prime, that's for sure.
For sure.
Um, I'd love to see, and I've often said, I thought Don Nealon retired too early. He couldn't come back now, but I mean, I wish he hadn't
Yeah,
retired.
10, 15 years ago he could have, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Like and subscribe, guys, to Voice of College Football and Mountaineer Fall Talk Football. We're live streaming on both. Yeah, if you haven't liked it, like the video, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, give us a subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Also, Kuz's Corner, Golden Blue Dude. Also, if you this our little family, our little circle. If you haven't subscribed to any of our channels, we all cover the Mountaineers in our own different way, our own unique perspectives. We're all really good at it. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm confident in my abilities. Kuz is really good at what he does, and so is Golden Blue Dude. And you got Joey behind the scenes pulling the strings.
No, really. Really, but you guys are awesome. Y'all all have great channels in your own right and things, and I'm happy to be able to work with you guys anytime I can. So it's an honor for me to be able to work with you and Golden Blue Dude, Mark Rogers, Traveling Fools. Anybody that I work with, which is a lot. But at the same time, it's your guys' content, it's your guys' videos, it's your guys that create it. Just me that promotes it, and I'm really happy to do that for you guys because I think y'all all have awesome channels. As seen right here, the way you guys jumped on this story really quick and got up and live streaming, that shows that you guys are dedicated, and that's what it takes in this business is be dedicated. So I'm really proud of you.
Appreciate it, man. My thoughts on Neil Brown replacements. If it comes to that, I've got a list of, depends on how you want to quantify it, dude. I've got a list of fantasy guys that are probably out of our reach, both whether they would come to West Virginia and also our checkbook. I don't think it quite reached that high. I would love to be wrong about that. But a guy like Deion Sanders would be my number one choice, flat out. If I could pick any coach right now, it would be Deion Sanders because, well, first of all, what he's done at where he's at. I mean, he's got more 5-star and 4-star players on an HBCU roster than probably all but 20 or 30 Power 5 schools. And to think what he could do at a Power 5 school with more visibility, more money, more coaches to recruit is a scary thought. And he's winning, which he should be with all that talent. So, it's often said that once
I wouldn't want Deion just for that reason. I think if you had Deion, and let's say he comes in and recruits great, you sign him to a 4-year deal. After 3 years, he gets a job offer and he bails on you. That's
what's going to happen.
Get you to a winning culture, and then all of a sudden,
we would win. Wherever he goes, will win a national championship within 2 years. I believe that. That's just my personal belief. So I would take that at West Virginia. And the roster he leaves behind, if they don't all follow him, obviously, which would probably happen, would probably still be pretty good. But he's my pie in the sky. Like I said, is that realistic? No, it's not. If I had to pick somebody more realistic, probably it would have to be Matt Rule for me. The former Baylor coach turned him around. He got that job, right after a sex scandal that had happened there. Turned that around. They had one of the worst athletic departments in the country. He and Mac Rhodes really turned that thing around. And now they're outside of Alabama, probably the next best athletic department in the country. So
now
he was part of that.
I'd like to be able to reach out and get Mac Rhodes as an athletic director here at West Virginia. That's for sure. Hey, so the coach that I have in mind, if they fire Neil Brown, the coach that I have in mind, who would understand the culture at West Virginia, and I think would make a really good coach. And that's because he used to coach against us, so he understands our program quite a bit. That's Charlie Strong. I think Charlie Strong could recruit well at West Virginia, just like he did when he was at Louisville back a few years ago. I think that he could take the program places because he understands the culture of West Virginia to an extent. I just think Charlie Strong make a good coach. Now, does that mean that I want Charlie Strong hired? Not necessarily. There's plenty of coaches out there that I would like to see before him. For instance, I'd like to see Hugh Freeze before him. I would like to see Tom Herman before him. But if you're going to hire a coach that I think would stick with the program and understand the culture and stay with us, it'd probably be a Charlie Strong.
Yeah, I don't really like what he did to Texas, but he was really good at
Texas is a
Louisville,
tough
that's for
place.
sure.
Texas is a
Uh,
tough place. You got to understand. It's not Texas. Texas is not a place that you coach to be a coach. You're there to glamorize Texas, and you're there to bow down to the donors. So that's
right.
not like that at West
Yeah, I
Virginia.
mean, I
He would have.
understand that.
He gets a chance to actually coach. So
What he did at USF was very commendable. Uh, Ed passed along was at Salem when Terry Bowden and Rich Rod were there. Jimbo was at quarterback. Mike Carey there also. Yeah, that's a heck of a crew there. Heck of a
yeah,
crew.
well, um, yeah,
I'll tell you what, guys.
quarterback.
Here's my honest opinion. If Jimbo was willing to give up his play calling duties, I wouldn't have a problem with Jimbo becoming our next coach. Just my opinion. I know a lot of people are down on him because he's had one bad year this year. If you go look at all his other years at Texas A&M, they've been okay. He was 9-1 2 years ago. He won 8 games last year. He won 14, 13, 12 games at Florida State several times with the national championship. I don't think he forgot how to coach. I know he definitely didn't forget how to recruit, but his offense is outdated. And, several people have said this. So, he's just going to have to come to the realization that Neil Brown did, that he either needs to change or give the play calling duties up. Will he do that? I don't know,
Well,
but
I don't think Jimbo. You got to look at this. You can say, well, he went 8-4 last year. He's not doing well this year. They're going to probably be lucky to finish 6-6. I mean, I just don't. With the recruits they get at Texas, if he can't do any better than that, I don't think he would be the coach for West Virginia. I really
what's the
don't.
same thing you said about Charlie Strong, though? It's the same deal at Texas A&M
Well,
for him.
in a way, yeah, and not as bad as at Texas, but yeah, in a way, yeah, I can understand that. It's true. Um,
But not quite to the Texas level, though. A&M isn't, but they've
right,
got
it's
just
not
enough
to the
money.
Texas level. Right, it's not to the Texas level at all at Texas A&M. At Texas A&M, the coach actually gets to be a coach. Uh, so, yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
agree with you,
problem,
Will.
the problem, Will,
I
though,
love him.
is we don't have all the options. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't get somebody like a Hugh Freeze is probably within reality. Maybe a Matt Rule is, but like the thing that sucks is there are other programs that are just, at least because of how we play the last few years, especially brand visibility, are just a little bit, couple notches above us. So, I don't know if we're as desirable a job as, let's say, like a Wisconsin is right now, or something like that. So that's what scares me about a guy like Matt Rule or Hugh Freeze or an Auburn job. I mean, the right guy at Auburn wins for 20 years. So I don't know. I want somebody that embraces our culture and understands what it's like. They don't have to be a West Virginian, but like Neil came in and he embraced the culture. So I
That's
I
exactly right.
appreciated that.
Neil, being a Kentucky guy, completely understands West Virginia culture because the culture is about the same between West Virginia and Kentucky.
Sure.
I've got property in Kentucky and go down there quite often. I can tell you right now, there's not a lot of difference between West Virginia and Kentucky people, the attitudes, just the culture all around. There's not a lot of difference there. So David Smoke, and I were talking there a while ago, and he was telling me, he said, I was happy for Neil Brown that they won and Graham Harrell as well. Garrett Green gave them quite a spark, and I know JT Daniels is a talent, but Green brought some grit for that style of the game with the lousy weather. Yeah, so that was from David Smoke. And that's true. He did on that game the other day. Sorry, I just wanted to break that in there and tell you that what Dave was saying about our game the other day. That's I think that game the other day, everybody says, "Well, now that saved Neil Brown's job." I don't know that Neil Brown's job was so much in jeopardy, really. I mean, yeah, it was, but is he on the hot seat? Sure, he is. But it doesn't mean that his job was in jeopardy. It was for Shane Lyons that was in jeopardy, and as you've seen today, that came to fruition. So,
well, there are several people on record around ESPN that said that had he lost that game, they were 100% sure he was going to get fired, along with Shane Lyons. So,
right, exactly.
But I don't know.
And
my thing is if you were settled on Neil Brown being fired, if you lost the Oklahoma game, what the hell are 3 more games going to do for you? If the powers that be feel that way, why even wait 3 more games? That's my thing. I just don't. There's just not enough to evaluate in 3 games.
That's just it. It would just be if you're going to make a change, though, right now would be the way to time to make the change because you've got recruiting coming, just a month away. So, you've got to get a coach in there that can save these recruits and keep these recruits. If you fire him at the end of the season, that's not a lot of time for a new coach to come in. It's not a lot of time to hire a coach, him to come in, transition, meet all the new players, and then go after those recruits and keep them. Whereas if you do it now, then maybe you can do it. That's why I think that, Neil's not going anywhere, that it's going to be okay for another year with Neil. And the new athletic director will make a decision at that time. That's how I feel. That's always subject to change.
Will Notre Dame's asking about Brian Harsin. Obviously, everybody knows he didn't get a real fair shake there at Auburn. But it's like he's got bad juju, though. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if the way our program has been the last 4 years, Will, Brian Harsin, even though I think he's probably a good coach, it's just like, you're playing a football game and there's momentum, right? It's kind of like that with him right now. He just, he's all his momentum is gone. And so that would probably affect recruiting to a point, and things like that. And I could be completely wrong on that, but that's just my gut feeling on Harsin. I'm sure he'll land somewhere, but maybe it will be West Virginia. Who knows?
Well, I think I'm like you. I think Brian Harsin's a good coach. Problem is, I have a problem with so many players and coaches coming out against him. That were there, his coaching staff leaving him. None of them had anything nice to say about what was going on. So that's where I would hold my reservations on that.
Yeah. Now, Greg Adams says he won't admit he was wrong, so he quits.
What was you wrong about?
Oh, Greg? Okay. Oh, he's talking about Shane Lyons. Yeah. Is that what he did, Greg?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing, he was offered a position in the athletic department. He offered him one, and he turned it down. So obviously, this is not a good breakup, which is unfortunate, But maybe, I don't know. Maybe a new athletic director is what we need. Just it's kind of like with Brett Yormark, and how just getting a new commissioner into the Big 12 just all of a sudden there's new connections, there's new networking happening, and all of a sudden there's a new deal. Same thing with us. Before you know it, who knows? Maybe the next guy we get in, maybe that's what Gordon focuses on is, yeah, we want a guy that's going to hire the right coach, but we also want a guy that's going to position us in the realignment game, and maybe hire somebody out of the SEC with connections. You know, there's a bunch of different ways you can take this. It'd be interesting to see what they do with it if they don't hire from within. So
I just wish everybody. Here's my thoughts. I wish everybody would just realize how down our athletic programs have been, and realize that this is may just be a Shane Lyons problem. It may not be a Neil Brown problem at all. Neil Brown may actually turn out to be a fantastic coach. Maybe we ought to give him another year. Maybe we ought to get a little bit supportive here. Not saying that he's made great calls in games and stuff, because he has made some lousy calls in games. But hey, I look at it this way. The other day, Georgia, with 13 seconds left in the half, made a boneheaded play call, and that who was they playing? Ole Miss score 13 seconds left in the half. So it was like a boneheaded play call. They could have just run the ball up the middle, and they didn't. So everybody makes bad calls every once in a while. It just happens in football and stuff. So I think that Neil Brown's a great coach. I really do. I know the players love him. I know that the parents love him. I just think that there's we see all these players leaving the program, and they're all tweeting out saying, "Got away from the toxic atmosphere. Got away." We see things like that, right? And we think they're talking about Neil Brown, but maybe they were talking about Shane Lyons. Maybe they were talking about the whole athletic department in general. I mean, it's not just football that's lost players. Look at basketball. How many players left in basketball? Look at all of our programs. We've got baseball players transferring, soccer players transferring, and all of them tweeting the same stuff. Got out of that atmosphere. I'm glad away from that. So it's a Neil Brown. It's not a Neil Brown thing. It's a Shane Lyons problem. I truly believe that. So if we would just be patient, I think we'll have a turnaround.
Yeah, that's just something we'll probably won't agree on, but
Right,
listen,
right.
I'll
I
eat
know that.
crow. I will eat crow if you're right about it, no doubt. And I'll be happy to do it because it's a win-win situation.
I'm not saying Neil Brown's still going to be the best coach you've ever seen. I'm saying maybe he just needs another chance. He could turn to be a big flop, and if he is, hey, damn me, that's awful. I shouldn't have ever said that he should be retained as a coach for another year. But at the same time, I just feel like maybe he hasn't gotten a fair shake since all of our athletics are down. Now that maybe the source of the problem is gone, possibly things could turn around. Hope so, anyway.
Right. I mean, if he's held on to, if he's given another year, that's going to be the hope that I have. I'm going to hope and pray that it was somewhat of a Shane Lyons problem, even though, nobody can ever convince me that the on the field calls are anything but a Neil Brown problem. And then just trying to reinsert JT Daniels last week. That was, I could go on and on about it. But at the end of the day, we won the game.
That was a silly
move
to try to reinsert. Yeah. I'm happy that by the end of the game, he was actually coaching to win instead of coaching not to lose. And so he made his decision and he put Green in. And, it's hard. It's hard for somebody like Neil Brown because Neil Brown's he's such a nice guy. He don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. He wants everybody to be happy. And you can't do that. You got to be a CEO. You got to piss people off. And it's how it works. And so, Yep.
Oh, sorry, Joe.
No, you're fine.
The athletic director is going to want his guy, Neil Brown, his son. He might be Cody.
I agree.
We're going to see there is a chance we get promoted from within, Cody. We've got some very qualified people in the athletic department. What's that woman's name? Kelly. Can't remember. But anyway, I've heard a lot of good things about her. But if it was up to me, I would hire from outside the program. Just go ahead and start fresh, like we were talking about a minute ago. There are so many different ways you can take it. I wonder if the Oregon, I mean, very unlikely, but the Oregon athletic director, he's a West Virginia guy. I wonder if he would come home.
There's a possibility of that.
Would you leave Phil
Now,
Knight and that
Cody,
Oregon money?
Cody, well, I mean, athletic directors across the country pretty much make around the same amount of money. It's not that they're not like a coach. Coaches making big time money
Right,
and
but I
stuff.
mean, as far as like
So,
resources, obviously Phil Knight and the Nike money is a big
right,
deal
right.
for
Yeah.
Oregon.
Well, he could come here and have King Gandrick and Oliver Luck. So I mean, it's just as
Right.
well. You got Jim Justice as well. Hey, Cody, I want to ask you a question. Are you kin to Mark or Mike Parsons? Either one or both of them? I just wondered about Cody Parsons there.
But
If he was
if we
kin to
do go
Mark.
group of five again, obviously Jamie Chadwell is a name that I'm a big fan of, only because he's the only group of five coach that I know of right now that isn't coming through one of the pipeline schools, whether that's Appalachian State or Troy. Troy's had good teams and a good program at certain points in the past. Obviously, Appalachian State, they've had two or three coaches recently. BYU or Boise's another one. UCF has been one. I've never heard of Coastal Carolina until Jamie Chadwell turned that thing around, or just made it into something out of nowhere. And he sustained it for 2 years straight. Last year and this year. So Chadwell's a name. If we had to go that route, he'd be the guy I go with for sure.
You got to remember the Neil Brown was the same way. Nobody had ever heard of Troy. I mean, really, seriously.
Yeah, they had those.
Like
Larry Blakeney won.
well,
Larry
I'm not saying
Blakeney won for
they
10
weren't
years
decent.
there.
But I'm not saying they weren't decent. I'm saying they were bottom feeders when Neil Brown took them over and he took them to the top. They had been down for quite a few years when he took them to the top. Neil Brown was the coach that everybody wanted at the time, and I'm just worried that could happen right around again. That we hire another group of five coach and not get anywhere with him. I worry about that. I would like to have someone with some experience at the Power 5 level, someone that is a CEO and understands Power 5 football. Now, because you hire a group of five coach and he comes in, he's not used to recruiting 4 and 5-star players. He's not used to going after 4-star players. He doesn't know them that well. I think it was the same problem Neil Brown had. And so you wanted somebody with a group of five, with a Power 5 knowledge base there, I believe, in a way. Somebody says Pat White is our head coach. Yeah. I would like to see like the Trickets come back to West Virginia at some point. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see Clint Trickett come back at some point, maybe as an offensive coordinator or something. Yeah.
The thing about Pat is he's been to. I think he left. What did he leave? Was it Colgate, Albany, wherever he was at, and went straight to the Chargers. Pat's had very little experience, but he is Pat White, and I would never. I mean, listen, I could be talked into it. If we hired Pat White for some reason, would I be mad? No, I wouldn't be mad. I'd be nervous. But it's always fun to dream about stuff like that. What if Pat White could return to greatness? How awesome would that be? That would be cool. But
so Cody is related to Mike. Yeah, I talk to Mike and Mark quite often through Facebook. I talk to them quite often. Golden Voodoo says he got a video just dropped on all this. Good deal, Golden Voodoo. I'll go over and watch that. I am going to jump off, but appreciate you having me on. Appreciate you inviting me and stuff. Hey, let's go Mountaineers. I'm glad there's some changes being made. We'll see what else happens. What else comes down the pipe? Like I say, I don't look for anything until a new athletic director is hired, and then who knows? Gordon Gee may be on a firing spree. So we'll know more here later. So.
Yep. And guys, if you haven't liked this video, give it a like. And if you haven't given Mountaineer Paul Talk Football a like, give that a like. And last I checked, I was 8 subscribers away from 400. So if somebody could run if you're not subscribed to Mountaineer Paul Talks Football, give me a sub, guys, if you can. If you already are, I thank you for your service. And go watch
And we're
Golden
going to
Blue
push
Dudes.
him we're going to try to push him to 500 by the end of the week. That end of the week. How about that? Let's try to push Mountaineer Paul to
That'd be
500
cool.
subs by the end of the week. How about 1,000 by January 1st? Can we do it? I think we can. Let's push him to 1,000
There's
by
no doubt.
January.
Well, I mean,
There's no doubt about
you
that.
know, I started 30 days ago today, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm at 400. I made it to 400 in 30 days.
Yeah.
So I feel
we'll
like
get
it's
him, we'll get him
possible.
pushing, and so that's all. Tell a friend, tell a colleague, post it on your Facebook, post it on your Twitter. Mountaineer Paul Talks Football. Get everybody over here, and all right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here, and we'll see everybody later on, probably on Golden Blue Dude. We'll see you
All
later,
right,
Paul.
Joe.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, man. Brent Baker says, smooth move, Axe and Lyons. Agree with Jerry on all that. Yeah. Man, I just, I love Joey, but I'll never subscribe to Shane Lyons being the reason Neil Brown hasn't succeeded on the field. I mean, could he have created a toxic culture for Neil Brown or something? Maybe, yeah. But the boneheaded calls, like I said, trying to put JT back in, things like that. No, good on that. But yeah, man. You guys got a question or comment? Let me know. I'm right here. Probably going to be getting off here shortly. Been on here for an hour and 11 minutes. I was on here as the news broke. So. And get over there and watch Golden Blue Dude's video, guys, if you don't mind. Well, our view counts dropped, so I'm going to go ahead and just sign off, I think, fellas. Been on here for an hour and 12 minutes. So I think it's about that time. Guys, get over there and subscribe, man. If you can, I'm trying to make it to 500 by the end of the week. Subscribe to the Voice of College Football. Give the video a like. Shane Lyons is out. What's happened? What's going to be for Neil Brown next? Well, we'll hopefully see you later on, guys. This video is over. Mountaineer Paul is out.